guys, if you guys are new here, well, you guys are right on time because I'm actually naming the show that we have, which is the After Hour Show. What it means is after working all day, going to work, trying to become your better version, trying to fight the world, you know what I mean? I feel like we deserve a treat. And what better treat than actually reading some horror stories? The first one that we're reading is I worked for an organization that contains God. We had to make a sacrifice this time. I'm weirded out. Like, what do you mean contain gods? What do you mean contain gods? That sounds very weird. That sounds very weird. But I mean, what is not weird in this world? What is not weird in this world? I feel like every day in this world we have something weird. Okay, so let's get into the series. I worked at a facility that contains gods. Or maybe contain isn't the right word. You can't really contain something that existed before the concept of worlds. Or something that remembers the first fire, the first prayer, the first human who begged for mercy. We don't have an official name, at least not one we are allowed to use. Everyone just calls it C.S.P. Chain, Seal, Protect. That's our motto, our purpose. And before you ask, no, I'm pretty sure you never heard of us. Nobody has. We don't even appear on government records, maps, or budget. If we do our job correctly, the world will never learn we exist. I wonder what that is. They say they contain God, so what does that mean? Like, I'm creeped out already. Honestly. It's saying, I'm posting this because I don't think anyone would believe me anyway. Oh, someone is cocking. Well, that, and I also decided to start journaling. Apparently, it's supposed to be healthy, helps you process your thoughts, organize your feelings, and all that nonsense. But journaling into a notebook sounds boring as hell. No offense to suburban moms who write 3 pages every morning about their yoga classes, pancakes, spice letters. But if I'm going to write about my day, I want an audience. Don't worry, I already gave you one. We already gave you one, right, guys? Trust me, my days are worth reading about. I love this job. That's probably the weirdest thing you'll hear in this entire story. Most stories like this start with someone who hates their job. They're trapped, desperate, forced into somehow. That is not me. Okay, that is only partially true. I wasn't exactly forced into the C.S.P, but they didn't give me any alternatives either. The way they recruit people is kind of genius. They don't look for the best candidates. They don't look for the smartest people, the strongest people, or even the most qualified. They look for people who are already half dead. People with no future. People with no family. People nobody would miss. Also, okay, basically they're looking for victims. They're looking for people who come from troubled homes. People who they know that their mommy and daddy be beating them up. So they know like, oh my god, if that child went missing, nobody will look for them. And that, okay. I don't think I like now because I actually thought it was something really secretive, but it's full of like, you know, smart people, adventurous people, or people who know that they got it, you know, like supernatural people. But now you're telling me they're looking for people who basically the system don't care about. That's quite sad. You're not actually dead. Your heart still beats. You still wake up every morning, but your existence has already faded from the world. Nobody calls, nobody checks in, nobody notices when you're gone for a week or a month or forever. You've already been forgotten, so you might as well be halfway in the grave. That's quite poetic. I'm not lying, that's quite poetic. This is the kind of people the C.S.P recruits. Because when you work at a facility dedicated to chaining, sealing, and protecting things that shouldn't exist, employees' retention isn't exactly great. And if one of us dies, well, it's easier when nobody comes looking. Well, I wasn't always half dead. I had a family once. Not a good one, but a family. Getting into the details would take an entire post and probably trigger another mental breakdown, so let's skip to the trauma dump. All I'll say is that I left and I never looked back, and as far as I'm concerned, even if they all perish, it isn't my problem. After I left, things got worse. I hit rock bottom, tried to end it all, and then ended up under state supervision. Officially, they call it counseling, mandates, sessions, evaluations. Therapists ask the same questions in different ways, hoping it would. I hit rock bottom, tried to end it all, and then ended up under state supervision. Officially, they call it counseling, mandate, sessions, evaluation. Therapists ask the same questions in different ways, hoping I'll eventually give them the answer they wanted. It didn't work, mostly because I lied through every session. At least I thought it was counseling. Turns out it was a recruitment. What do you mean by recruitment? What do you mean by recruitment? Oh my god, don't know this is good at all. Okay, I'm just making garbage noises. Honestly, at this point, I'm not even making sense. And honestly, I don't blame you if you think I'm not making sense, because even I find myself weird sometimes. That's true. That's true. But yep, recruitment. Okay. A few weeks after my treatment ended, I was taken. Kidnapping is probably the correct word. Kidnapping is probably the correct word. Though C.S.P would likely prefer something cleaner like acquisitions or transfer, I woke up in a crustinated holding cell with no windows, no clock, and a single mental table. There was a glass veil sitting on it. Across from me sat a man in grey suit. He gave me two options. Oh, now we're going into the matrix. Okay. Matrix. Okay, let's look at the matrix. The second one was employment. Join the facility. At the time, I thought it was some kind of sick joke. Then he explained what CSP actually was. And that's when I learned the real reason nobody knows about the organization. Because once you know it exists, you don't get to leave. By the way, guys, sorry for cutting this short. If you guys are actually loving this story, please don't forget to click like and subscribe. Your support actually means the most to me, honestly. I'm trying to do this thing of like becoming a better version of myself, but at the same time, I also want to be able to kind of create this type of content. And it becomes nicer when you see people liking the same content that you guys make. And besides, I'm pretty sure you guys, after working hard, you just want to relax, right? So how about we do that same thing? We work hard, at the same time, we deserve to rest by a good horror story. The second was employment. Join the facility. At the time, I thought it was some kind of sick joke. Did I just enter the graveyard? Am I about to be dead? Am I about to be killing people right now? Because that seems like it. What do you mean? I apologize, guys, if you guys are hearing noise outside. Unfortunately, my little sisters are outside playing, and as much as I try to tell them to shh, they don't want to do shh. You know what I mean? So please bear with me as I'm trying to bear with them, right? Because once you know it exists, you don't get to leave. You either become part of the facility or you never leave at all. And despite what you might be thinking, I didn't choose the vow. Of course you didn't choose the vow. That's why we're having you here, right? Funny how that works. You can spend years wanting to die, convinced that nothing's left for you, and the moment when someone gives you a reason to keep going, suddenly death doesn't seem so appealing anymore. Or maybe it wasn't the purpose. Maybe it was pure spite. Part of me wanted to outlive my parents, to keep breathing long enough to know. Part of me wanted to outlive my parents, to keep breathing long enough to know I would never attend their funerals. Whatever the reason, I signed the contract. That was 2 years ago. Since then, I've been promoted 3 times. Damn, an exceptional post. Not because I'm exceptional, not because I am some genius monster hunted or elite operator. I am just the only idiot left alive to promote. What do you mean the only idiot left alive? You mean they killed everybody else and you're the only one person left? I don't think you should be happy about that promotion. Most of our co-workers are fresh recruits. Every few months, a new batch arrives looking confused, terrified, or numb. Some think they join a secret government agent, some think they have been punished, a few are actually excited. Those are usually the first ones to die. Out of every 500 recruits, maybe 15 make it past their first year. Out of those 15, maybe 5 survive their second. And after that, the numbers get so small, nobody bothers tracking them. So either I'm incredibly lucky or I'm like a cockroach. Ugly, stubborn, and impossible to kill. Personally, I am betting on the cockroach theory. Before I tell you what happened last week, you need to understand how gods actually work. First, C.S.P doesn't imprison gods. C.S.P doesn't imprison gods. That's a common misconception. Humans are incapable of imprisoning a god. Trust me, we tried. When we say a god is contained, what we really mean that it has been managed. Kept satisfied, kept predictable, kept from wandering off and collecting worshippers on its own. How the containment division accomplished that is beyond me. I worked in the revolt, not containment, and I have no interest in transferring. The mortal rate over there makes our department look like a retirement home. I am one of the 3 heads of the revolt division. One of the other managers has survived 4 years. The third has survived 3. Which basically means they are better cockroaches than I am. Our job is simple in theory. Find a newly imaged god, negotiate with them, offer them a deal, a place to stay, worshippers, protect from rivals, entities, and human interference. In exchange, they stop kidnapping people. Okay, so basically it's kind of like a deal. You just like, hey angel, hey devil, let me do you a favor. How about we come together, I give you a place to stay, I give you some food, and then you just stop all the kidnapping people, because the moment you start kidnapping people, people may wonder what is going on. Most gods don't want to destroy humanity, they just want attention. The problem is that gods attract worshippers the same way a fire attracts moths. Lost people, lonely people, desperate people. A god will whisper into their dreams, promise them purpose, and before long they are gone. That's why whenever you see a glass of mystery disappearance, odds are good a god is involved. I'm quite intrigued now. Gods are classified by the number of active worshippers they possess. Gods are classified by the number of active worshippers they possess. D class 500 to 1000 worshippers. C class 1000 to 500. B class 5000 to 10,000. A class 10,000 to 20,000. Anything above 20,000 is considered S class. Anything above 500,000 becomes SS class, and anything beyond that, where humanity stops pretending that it can control it. At C.S.P, we currently have 2 S classes entities. At C.S.P, we currently have 2 S classes and a single SS class. The lower classes are so numerous that nobody bothers counting them anymore. Anyway, the reason I'm joining all of this is because my therapist won't stop bothering me. Surprisingly, C.S.P has its own mental health department now, which is honestly more terrifying than most of the gods. Every month they drag me into an office, ask me how I'm feeling, pretending they're surprised when I tell them that I'm feeling terrible. Apparently surviving 2 years in a vessel isn't normal, and the fact that I can casually eat lunch while disguising constant reports is a sign that I've developed an unhealthy coping mechanism. What do they want? I'm pretty sure if you do your job, you get paid, they should leave you alone. But like, no, you should be dying. What's going on with you? You want me to die? Yeah, we want you to die because then it will explain our theory that nobody survives this longer than 2 years. But you seem to surpass that. What's going on with you? Their words, not mine. So this is my compromise. I'm not writing a notebook like some depressed Victorian poet. I am putting everything out here instead. If nobody else, maybe it will save the next poor idiot who gets recruited. Or maybe it will just give future psychologists more material to argue about after I inevitably die. Either way, everybody wins. Now let's get to the reason I'm writing this in the first place, with what happened a few hours ago. A new assignment came across our desk. People were disappearing in the savannah desert. Now normally that wouldn't raise any alerts. Hundreds of people vanishing in the savannah every year. The desert is massive, unforgiving, and very good at hiding bodies. What caught our attention was the increase. Yeah, it had already oh yeah, this thing is testing how I'm reading. This thing is really testing how I'm reading. I feel like this thing is showing me that I can't read. The annual number sits somewhere between 250 to 500 disappearances. Last year it hit 600. This year it had already reached 700, and we ain't even halfway through the year. Something was taking them, which usually means a new god has appeared. Our team was dispatched immediately. Fortunately, I had another problem. I needed an assistant. Again. What do you mean again? I really need an assistant, Jacob. I said. Well, Jacob is one of the 2 cockroaches managers, His name isn't exactly Jacob. None of us use our real names here. C.S.P is very particular about keeping our identities separate from the organization. The few connections there are between your real life and this place, the better. His name isn't exactly Jacob. None of us use our real names here. C.S.P is very particular about keeping our identities separate from the organization. The fewer connections there are between your life and this place, the better. If something gets out, nobody can trace you back to the facility, or the facility back to you. Mine isn't either. I named myself after a hair shampoo I used as a kid. Seriously, out of all the names you had to choose, you just be like, yeah, I used to use a shampoo named Das Diverts, so now my name is Das Diverts. I have no idea where that name came from. Don't ask me why. I want to know why. You can't be naming yourself after Das Diverts. Okay, why would you name yourself after Das Diverts? Like, just because it's a good shampoo name. To be fair, there's no name called a Das Diverts shampoo. I'm just making things up in my head. It was the first thing that came to me in mind. They asked me what name I want on file. Jacob looked up from his paperwork and said, no. And why is that? I said. Because this is your 20th assistant this year. How can you be killing off your assistant every single time? What's going on with you? That statistic is incredibly misleading. How? Because it implies I killed them. Job stared at me. I said, but fine. I said, most of them died on my missions. Man, you heartless. No wonder why you be surviving. You be crimpling over other people's necks. Exactly. It is not my fault. The recruiters keep dying. I'm not their mother. That's probably what worries me. Same here. If you're not their mother, you would not care about them. You know what I mean? 10 minutes until dispatcher. If I missed the helicopter, Jeff would leave without me. The pilot already hates me for reasons that may or may not involve an accident with an ancient facility guard and a fuel tank. Please. Jacob groaned. Fine, takes it. A young man sitting nearby immediately looked horrified. Jacob shoved him towards me. He's from my division. If he dies naively, Nairi. Nairi. What kind of name is that? Nairi. I'm not giving you another assistant. Deal. You sound so sure after that deal, especially with you have. I left before he could change his mind. Sin hurried after me towards the helicopter. The poor guy looked like he was walking towards his execution. Statistically speaking, he kinda was. Man, you are very evil. I don't blame you. This place had to make you evil. My rectifiable team consists of 56 people. 7 are part of the Condemn Command team. Myself, Sin, and 5 senior operators responsible for actually negotiating with gods. The remaining personnel are securities. Their job is simple: get us to the gods alive. Keep us alive while we negotiate and get us back alive afterwards. On paper, it sounds easy. In reality, it's usually the hardest part. We arrived at the Gazal Pyramid. Normally the place is packed with tourists, but not today. Our team had the site shut down under the glue of innovations. We entered through a road the public does not know about. Not the path that leads into the pyramid, but the one that descends beneath it. Ancient Egyptians were remarkable builders. Unfortunately, something had decided to use their masterpiece as a feeding ground. We encountered the first layer of worshippers near the entrance. They moved wrong. One man had both of his legs bent in directions legs ain't supposed to bend, yet he spiggled towards us anyway. Another dragged himself forward with a broken spine. Since we're remarkable builders, okay? Yet he spun towards us anyways. Another dragged himself forward with a broken spine. The security detail opened fire. 10 bodies hit the floor before they got close. We pushed deep into the tunnels. The second layer was worse. 50, maybe 60 worshippers rushed us at once. Some crawled across the walls, stealing like insects. One dropped directly in front of me before Aileen, my security captain, put a bullet through its skull. Another came from above. I shot it in the head and it landed on my feet. Move! I shouted. We ran. The third layer was the last known. Hey, I moved in a different location. The reason why I did that is because today is a new day. Yesterday was another day. So basically when I was recording the video, I forgot that I made a promise to a friend that I was gonna take a walk with them, because I was doing a challenge where I was trying to do like a reset of the whole day. That's what I was doing yesterday, where I was trying to get my life in order. It's been so long since I posted, so I was like, you know what, let me just do a reset. While I was doing a reset, my brain was thinking, let's do a Reddit video, because honestly I want to get consistent with my upload videos. I want to get consistent with that. The best way for me to get consistent is by me doing a reset. And by reset, what does it mean? Reset basically means that I need to clean the room, I need to make sure that my health is intact, I need to touch some grass, and at the same time I also need to keep the promises that I made to myself, which is what I did when I told myself that I want to start being consistent with doing more Reddit videos and also like self-improvement types of videos. So if you guys are interested in that, you guys can watch 2 of my videos here. The first one is I tried the Chloe teen workout video. The second one is I tried the Glow with Joe workout video. To be fair, I quite like this type of environment. Is much cleaner than that side. That side be looking at my laundry that I need to take care of. So basically we finished it off with where the worshippers, with the gods hiding in like an Egyptian temple. And obviously the guy, I forgot his name, Narina, something like that, basically told him that, yo dude, if you keep on being here, no human being is gonna come here, because they're gonna find out that people are keep disappearing in this area, and which means there must be something wrong with this area. So basically you're not gonna get your feet, so how about me and you decide to work together and basically roll over, and then I'll be able to help you get what you want. So basically the demon is kind of convinced, because obviously demons, they say that the gods are kind of convinced, because they saying that gods basically love to be worshipped, they like to be seen, they like to be in a place where it attracts a lot of people. So if people are not there, it's kind of like saying something about themselves. It's like, wait, am I not important? So this is where we are. The guy says the pyramid has been revoked. Humans won't be allowed inside for a long time. The gods' stone face twisted. The worshippers begin to twitch. No pilgrims, not for some time. No wanderers, no offerings. Okay. Today my laptop is giving me hell. Like I literally have to touch my laptop and just be like this, like just to make sure that it is straight. Like that's how today's laptop is. This is how. So if you guys see me doing this, just know that I'm fighting with my laptop, right? Okay, I'm fighting with my laptop because it don't wanna stay still, and I just have to make it stay still. So it says the gods fell silent. Continue. The statue leaned forward is a massive face stepping only a few feet from mine. I could smell incense, blood, and something far older than either. We can provide housing, worshippers, protection, maintenance, and a stable source of followers. Damn. I glanced towards the empty entrance. Today's visitor accounts, the god didn't respond. 0 worshippers arrived today, still nothing, and tomorrow won't be much better. The status slowly stranded. I could particularly hear it thinking, which was terrifying. God's thinking is usually bad for humans. And what would you demand in return? Finally asked. Nothing. Come on, dude. Don't be lying. I feel like don't lie when you want something with this person. Be real. Be real. Be honest and just say we want to capture you and basically make you our documentary thing about you creatures, because you guys terrify us and we are human beings, so which means we like to experiment on things that are different. You know what I mean? So if you're different, we're not gonna treat you like a human being at all. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's what we want to do. Basically cage you for life and just do a bunch of experiments on you. That's pretty much what human beings do. I hope I'm right. I did touch a call, right? And what would you demand in return? It finally asked. Very little. Nothing is ever little with humans. Worshippers resumed their circling, their feet scrubbing softly against the ancient stone as they moved. I reached into my bag, removed the soul scroll. We prepared a formal proposal. Before the god could respond, I handed it to Sin and shoved him forward. Huh? Was all Sin managed to say. Before he stumbled into one of the worshippers. Several of them immediately grabbed him, dragged him towards the stairway where he screamed, my boy be killing assistant. I feel like he's the type of person like, I want assistant because I don't want to be killed. I feel like that's why he survived so long. Now I finally get why he survived those 2 years, because it's like, give me an assistant. Every time when I'm facing danger, I'm just gonna throw them in their face. My life is safe. The scroll floated from his head before it reached the ground. The gods read it. I have no idea what was written on it. Nobody in Vettel does. The scrolls arrived sealed from the containment division. They are written in some ancient language only gods can understand. We ain't allowed to open them. Rumor said reading one drives human insane. I've never been curious enough to test that theory. I love this person. Before I hated him, but now I love him because I'm like, you are me. I would never do that. Honestly, I will obey you and just do what you guys want me to do as long as you don't kill me. If you don't kill me, I don't need to search for where it is none of my business. Roma said, reading one drives human insane, and I've quite a proposal. Quite a proposition, lowly creature. The god slid. For a moment I thought he was going to reject the offer, then he laughed. I accept. With the blinding light filled the chamber, causing all of us to close our eyes. When I opened my eyes, the statue was gone, the worshippers were gone, the cavern was empty. Another successful mission. We returned to the helicopters. I was halfway on board when I recognized Sin wasn't with us. I looked around, counted heads, counted again, still no Sin. I sighed. Sorry, Jacob. I already knew he was going to kill me. Boy, you literally threw him to the woods. Like, honestly, you are a bad mother. Like, honestly, that's why I feel like the guy was like, yeah, you are bad because you will not even care about those people like your own. You know what I mean? Like, he's like, you are bad. I know you. Right? Probably, it wasn't my fault. Yeah, it wasn't your fault. Wow. Okay. The god had decided to keep him. The entity now resides on the 5th floor to the facility under a long-term containment agreement. Sin lives there too. He's one of the worshippers now. Last I heard, he spent his day walking in circles, chanting in language nobody understands. Officially, he's listed as alive. Personally, I think that is debatable. Still, that is not what irritates me. What has irritated me is what was waiting for me when I got back, a new mission. Apparently, while dealing with the pyramid, something showed up in Antarctica. Normally, that wouldn't be my problem, and apparently while dealing with a pyramid, something showed up in Antarctica. Normally, that wouldn't be my problem. Antarctica is usually a containment territory. If something decides to crawl off the ice, they can be ones to deal with. Unfortunately, somebody upstairs disagrees. The report was thin. Two things, just 3 pages, a satellite image, a casual station, and a single sentence highlighted in red. Possible divine emergency confirmed. Revital team required immediately. I don't understand that sentence for a long time. Not because of the assignment, not because of the location, but because of the curiosity. Because of the casualty estimate. The last team that was there was released, never to be seen again. It was containment division team. Apparently, just because I have no 100% success rate. Apparently, the last team that was there was erased, never to be seen again. It was a containment division team. Apparently, just because I have 100% success rate, the person upstairs thinks this is something I can handle. Side note, my nigga, the reason why you can handle this thing is because they give you assistance and you just throw the assistance to the gods. And then the gods be like, okay, you know what? He gave me something to feed. I might reconsider. The professional team vanished into thin air, never to be seen again. Which means whatever we're going to find in Antarctica already has them. And if that's the case, then there's a decent chance chance my next assistant won't be the one who dies. Honestly, I should probably get some sleep before we leave. The helicopter departs at 6, so 8 hours from now. At least that means Jacob won't get the chance to kill me. By the time the helicopter departs at 6, so 8 hours from now. At least that means Jacob won't get the chance to kill me. By the time he receives the report, I'll be long gone. And Attica is waiting, and for the first time in a long time, I'm not looking forward to the mission. Part 2. Honestly, I'm not gonna go to part 2. One reason is because this is like another opportunity for me to make a video, guys. I'm just being honest. And the second part is because I wanna give each story its own series. No, and to the second place because I want to give each story its own video, because honestly, I feel like this is just good storytelling. Honestly, I was hooked from the start, and the fact that all the stories they relate back to each other just kind of gives me the goosebumps to be like, okay, I want to know what's happening. I want to know what's happening. So if you guys love the video, make sure that you guys click like and subscribe. And honestly, and also if you guys love self-improvement time videos, also you're part of the team, you're part of the friend group, you know what I mean? Because I love to challenge myself while also having fun. Why not have both? Why not have both? I've been like struggling for so long with making two types of content because I just want to show my personality. I just want to be like, yo, what up, you know what I mean? But at the same time, I'm like, you guys won't like me, because I also want to do like self-improvement videos where I constantly challenge myself, because I really want to improve my confidence, improve my self-discipline, become a better version of myself, build some consistency. So I'm gonna be doing that, and so let's do the journey of doing that. Let's go on the journey, and I'm pretty sure you guys will love another season. So I will see you another day with another story, and it's gonna be hella fun. Bye.